Hi, and welcome back to another video. I wanted to spend some time discussing how the hobonichi Weeks Mega has been working for me for the first half of the year, and some of the changes that I've made with using this planner, as well as just a general update and flip through of this entire planner. Before we get into the inside of this planner, I do want to mention that the only two pens that I used are the Pilot Vanishing Point. So I have this one in fine that I use for like boulder header, and then I'll show you the one I have inside this cover, which is the extra fine, which I use for the rest of the writing. Both of the pens are filled with platinum carbon black ink, and I just really love this pen since it has the retractable nib that just makes it really easy and convenient to use rather than each time having to remove, like twisting the clip in order to use it, which gets very annoying when you just want to be able like to check something off really quickly. So this makes it a perfect pen for me. So right now my planner is in this hobonichi cover. It's the black handwrite note, or N-O-T-T-E, and it zips closed, and it has like, I believe this is brass. I wish it came in silver, but I do still love it enough to use it with the brass hardware. And in it there are, there's like a zip pocket and some other pockets that I'm not currently using right now, but it can keep little bits of paper. But I do have in the back some of these icons from Megan Rhiannon on some cream paper, some, I forget where I got these little tiny silver stars. I have some Randy.Plants icon stickers, as well as some that I have made myself. And then this is the pen loop, and while it is like really tiny, maybe you can see, it is really nice if you have like a pen that clips. And I like how it is really on the edge, so that even though I have tabs, it doesn't get, they don't get beat up. And so I have the gray Mega, but I did start the year in the, what was it? The Black Paper Series Standard Edition, but switched to this one at the start of February since I was just using up a lot more note pages than I had initially intended. And I just was like, I'd rather switch now than wait until closer to the middle or end of the year and realize I just didn't have enough note pages. So let's actually get to the inside. So this cover right now, or not cover, but in the front area, I currently just have a little sticky note and my vision board for the month. So this is the one for July. I have some little notes. I don't really use these few first pages. So let's jump into the monthly. I don't really use the monthly calendar to document all of my appointments and events, since I already do that in my weekly section and it just feels kind of repetitive, especially since I don't really flip to this section anymore in the actual like month itself. I just really rely on my weekly plan section since I am a weekly planner. However, I do like to use this part to sort of plan out my month, and that's really for writing my goals for the month, the books I'd like to try to read, and some social media posts I'd like to try to do. So that's really YouTube, and like any YouTube videos I want to try and film, and maybe like reels that I want to film for Instagram, since I'm trying to get better at not just taking photos but taking videos, like flip throughs. But I've also worked on using this space since otherwise the calendar itself is pretty empty, and I worked on actually using, or not using, but adding little bits of journaling in the monthly space, and I really like the way that has been looking. And I find that it's a fun way that at the end of the year, like flipping through, it'll be nice to kind of read what were some of those like highlights or things that were very memorable that stuck out that I wanted to jot down. In addition, I've also been creating little vision boards for each month, essentially just to kind of highlight maybe some things that are going to happen that month, or things that I'm trying to focus on, or things like that. I just really like the visual representation of the month in these little photos. And I have these clipped on with these like little mini paper clips, and I really like these since these are a little bit smaller than your typical like paper clip size, and they do add a little bit of bulk, as you can see, because I use them in other parts. But so far it hasn't been that bad, honestly, for the amount that I have in here. So I really like them, though I know that this is probably going to be a very chunky planner by the end of the year if I keep all of those in. And ultimately, at the end of the month, this vision board then gets moved back to its monthly. But I really like how I'm able to utilize this space in just a different way than in previous years. And I ultimately I'm really liking the journaling in the monthly calendar. And this is June, and this is July. So as you can see, it is blank currently. And at the end of the month, I will go in and pick some of these little icons that I print out on cream toner paper from Megan Rhiannon. They're digitals that I've purchased. And I'll cut them out and then paste them, and then just journal in the remaining space, and then it fills it up. So so then it ends up looking like these. Okay, now let's move to the weekly section. Here we go. So I did backlog these first few weekly pages since I believed, let's see, this is still December, January. This was the week where I had decided to switch to the Mega. And luckily that, you see, like, that wasn't too many weeks that I had to backfill. And because these are all pre-printed, it meant that I think this was when I was first starting using it, I could be able to move in right away and then just take my time to backfill these pages so that I could actually focus more on the notes, because the notes, they're just gridded pieces of paper. I had to sort of go in chronological order in backfilling those and resetting them up. So that was more of a priority than the weekly pages. And ultimately, these haven't changed too much from the way that I used them last year. So I still do divide this section with a pencil line, and I have day-specific events and appointments on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side I have day-specific tasks. So any tasks that don't correlate to a specific day, so it just can happen whenever in the week, or it's something that I need to maybe schedule for like future weeks, I just put in what I call my inbox, which is below my habit tracker. And any tasks that are remaining either get like crossed out because I've sort of deleted that task because it's no longer useful, or it gets moved to following weeks. So, while anything that is here is pretty much certain that it's going to get done because it's either a lot more important or I've already scheduled that in. My habit tracker, the only thing I've changed is I'm no longer using a Tombow, what are they called? Tombow brush pen to like create a header for the tracker. I'm just using a straight line. I really like how clean this looks. Though currently, I have been putting a space in between since I had 1 week where, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this week. I hate how this one looks. It was just so busy that it was really hard to tell which was which. And while I like how I had all of these here, I don't like the way it ended up looking. So this was a good way to put some space in between. But I still here, I didn't have too many, so this was working out well. This inner column that has this like pre-made line already, I'm just using this to track my social media. I like this because it's a nice visual way to see like, okay, am I sharing my planner online, since I do really have fun chatting with you guys on Instagram as well as in YouTube in the comments. So it's also helping me keep track of when I post on YouTube as well. And it is something that I'm trying to get better, and I've been pretty good at being a lot more active on both, because I have definitely gone through periods where I have not shared a lot, especially in 2024. And lastly, some of the changes I've also made this year is I am adding sometimes little bits of journaling into the weekly section, just below essentially my inbox. If I have space and I have something I want to sort of journal that happened that week, this is the place to do so. And then I also have these little book reviews. This is just a box that I made on, what was it, probably like Word. And it's just a way to add in some, a little book review, a little printed image for some books that I liked, or that I did like a buddy read and I have just like a good memory of reading. But I do keep like my actual review of the book in my reading log that is in my traveler's notebook. But yeah, and here I'll just flip through this a bit. Oh, and these icons, so some of them, like I mentioned, are from randy.plans. Here I have these little books, but I have made my own, and I am in the progress of trying to make all the types of icons that I can need. It's just really time consuming, and I'm not the best drawer, so I also take time to draw out all the icons, but I am really pretty proud of this hockey stick icon that I hope you can kind of see, since it's really tiny, because I get a lot of questions on that. So. But overall, I've been really happy with how consistent I've been in my planner this year, considering that even in 2023, there were certain weeks where I just didn't fill it out as much, and this year I've been really consistent in it, and it's been a big tool to helping me with my productivity as well. I am, though, a little bit worried that all these little like book reviews are going to be a little bit too bulky, since that was another reason why I did switch to this black cover, is because I knew that by the end of the year I probably will have to move back into the clear cover. I usually have my hobonichi planners in, but I wanted to get to use this before it gets too bulky and it might not even close. I also am the type of person to only really use their planner at home, since I do have a Google Calendar. So this is really where I like to live in during the week. Sorry, there's a hair that was bugging me. But ultimately, so my Google Calendar is where I usually pre-plan things ahead. Like that's where I will plan like the entire month and like year out. But this is where I usually only set up actually 1 week at a time, unless it's a really structured month and I know what to expect far in advance. Otherwise, I do like to wait until the Sunday before to set up the following week, just because things change so much sometimes that I just really don't want to have a bunch of things crossed out since I do use pen in this planner. Let's see, what else can I say? I also have the Japanese version since the quotes at the bottoms really distract me in the English version, so I will keep using the Japanese version when possible. It's definitely a reason why sometimes I do still have to purchase my hobonichi planner directly from Hobonichi, because a lot of the people who sell them in the US only sell the English versions, and I cannot get enough of the Japanese version. And here we are at the current week in July, so let's skip now to the notes. Oh, and I will say, I think I probably will be moving into the into my like 2026 hobonichi weeks in December, since that's one of the features I actually love about this planner is it starts in December of the previous year. I just don't know yet if I'm gonna be getting the mega version or a standard, or it's really gonna depend on the colors that we see. So I'm really excited for August, since that means that we will start getting previews. So here at the start of the notes, I have a vision board for the year as well as my goals for the year. So since this is the mega version, it means there are 213 pages instead of the 70-ish note pages in the standard. I do really like to use these pages to just put whatever I need. I'm not somebody who likes to like have a daily planner, so I know a lot of people use these to like bullet journal in, but this is really just a place for me to put any type of lists, collections that I need. So here are some collections. There's also, as you can see, blank pages that sort of got abandoned. I'm not going back to fill out. Let's see, where's January? Okay, so January. So a lot of the time, every month has a little dashboard where I have top 3 goals of the month that match the monthly version, or the version that is up here. And then the rest of the space is ultimately for however I want to set it up here. I had some tasks and a little memory. And then I have my currently in recap, where I just kind of put like, what am I listening to? What am I watching, reading, and just some notes. Again, this is going to be really nice to look back to in future years. But again, another page that got abandoned. I am trying not to really worry too much about this stuff and just move on, since I don't have the energy to always go back and fill empty pages out, since it's just not a priority for me anymore. I also like here, I have like a list for my final paper that I made for class, since I added school work back into my main planner. Here, like, I was filming 2 videos, so I wanted to make sure I remembered like where I left off in like editing or like filming them. Oh, this I really enjoyed. This was I was watching The Last of Us season 2 live, and in order to remember what happened the previous episode, I like jotted down some of my thoughts, and that's really fun to look. Or even like I have the playoffs. This isn't my bracket. This is just me tracking the scores to know what teams were moving on, since especially at the beginning there were so many, it was hard to remember. But ultimately, I've really enjoyed getting to experiment with different notes and layouts, since the note pages were really underutilized in both 2023 and 2024, which was why I was shocked myself at the start of the year with how many pages I was just using up, and to the point that I was nervous about running out of pages. And that was why I had started with a standard, but I'm really happy I made the switch to a mega. Oh, I also, all of these tabs, so these are like little sticky tabs. Let me show you. Like this. And I've just covered them with this little index sticker from Daiso and written on the label, and then just like made it smaller. And I like these because they are repositionable, so ultimately once I no longer need that tab, I can get rid of it or put it in the back here until I need it again. But because this is the mega version and there are so many different like pages, there's so much more, there's about like 200 compared to like 70. I know that trying to flip through all 200 pages to try to find a singular page or like collection, since sometimes they're just like randomly put when I think of them, is a lot easier, because for my weekly and monthly I use these like little index Midori index clips, and I just have 2, but these are a lot easier to navigate between, since I know one is the weekly, one is the monthly. While before I had so many that I had to flip through a bunch of them before I actually found the one that I wanted. So I really like using these. Plus my pen does not disturb these, or like they don't like get chewed up, nor do they don't bother like the top and bottom as well. This was for a book that a series I was rereading. Then we're at July, so I'm essentially about in the 50s. So halfway through the year and already at 50, it would mean that I would only have 20 pages left for the rest of the year if I was still in a standard, which would have stressed me out a lot, especially since I know I probably will have a lot of pages dedicated to preparing for the switch of like brainstorming, spreads, ideas, and ultimately very happy with the switch and just not having to worry about running out of space, since you never know really what's ahead in the year. But I've also, with experimenting so much, I find that I figured out what I really like to use in this planner, which is also really important to me. Plus, it's given me some things to think about for next year on whether I think I could move back to a standard or not. It's still something that is up in the air for me. But overall, I am really happy with this planner, and I'm just having so much fun with it. It's also just been my most successful year in this planner, and I'm excited to pick one up again for next year. And I will be sharing some more thoughts on my 2026 system and 2026 hobonichi purchase plans in my August or my July and August notebook videos, and as well as sharing a hobonichi haul somehow once that order arrives. But overall, thank you all for watching. If you have more questions about how I am using my planner, or just maybe where something is from, definitely let me know in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer.